Yo, what is up guys? Del Boy here, aka Blue Collar Sports TV. Hopefully you guys are doing well. If you're new here, smash that like, hit subscribe, all of that good stuff. So I have the day off work today, and planning on having a lazy one, not doing much, bloody blah. Woke up this morning and realised there was some boxing on, and lo and behold, heavyweight prospect Justis Huni was fighting. Of course, Justis Huni, Australian heavyweight, and he was fighting today in a sort of a stay busy fight, an 8-rounder over in Australia, and he was fighting the Argentinian Leandro Robutti. Now Robutti was 11-6 going into that fight, so he was cannon fodder. He was just a stay busy opponent. In the ring, man, he looked in terrible shape. He was bigger than Justis Huni, like taller and longer, but he was morbidly obese, man. Fat rolls on fat rolls. I mean, it looked like he hadn't trained in about 6 months to a year, to be honest with you. I'd be surprised if he has, quite frankly. But yeah, you just had to look at the opponent and you realised that he was cannon fodder. And Justis Huni took care of him the way he should do. Justis Huni, of course, is a former amateur standout from Australia. A few years ago, I was quite interested in Justis Huni's career as a prospect. Certainly has some talent there. Good hand speed, good foot speed. You can tell just by looking at him, he has a good amateur pedigree. But the issue I've had with Justis Huni as his career's progressed, I don't think he's really severed those amateur tendencies from his game, to tell you the truth. I don't think he's got rid of those tendencies. And we've seen in certain fights him struggle with his opponents who have a lot of pro experience. The Kevin Lerena fight, for example, the Andrew Tabiti fight, for example, and these are former cruiserweights coming up. The Lerena fight in particular was very hard. Even earlier on, the Joseph Goodall fight. Joseph Goodall is a good strong pro, but nothing special at heavyweight. And, these sort of fights have put me off Justis Huni. When he turned over, I was impressed with his initial fights, his initial first couple of wins or so. But since then, to me, he's not really kicked on. This fight against Robutti, Justis Huni looked good, but this was a big step back in terms of quality of opposition. Robutti was slow as molasses, and early on, Justis Huni could get behind the jab. He was prodding and probing with the jab, changing levels with it, basically trying to set up his overhand right or straight right. Huni is an orthodox fighter. And he was in and out with the straight punches, kind of just outboxing Robutti. Towards the end of round 1, to Robutti's credit, if he deserves any, he actually let go of a few shots, tried to catch Justis Huni with one big punch. Robutti was a southpaw and he was swinging this sort of looping left hand from the southpaw stance. Nothing really got through, but, Huni backed off for a little bit. And you could tell after that, by the way. So it was like a 30-second burst towards the end of round 1 where Robutti threw a few shots. And you could tell at the end of round 1 he was gassed based off 30 seconds of punching. But he comes out for the next round, again tries to open up, but then Huni starts to really land his straight punches effectively. Jab, followed by the straight right hand, rocking the head back of Robutti. Robutti backs up. He begins to lose his shape, he begins to lose his balance, his guard is non-existent. Huni continues to catch him with the straight punches, culminating in a really good final straight right hand, which seemed to break the nose maybe of Robutti, or at least cut it. And then he follows up, I believe, with a hook to the body. And then Robutti goes down, takes a knee basically, and gets up, beats the count, but you could tell that Robutti wanted no parts of this fight anymore. Referee asked him, do you want to continue? And you could see Robutti shake his head. He had enough. And it was what it was. 2-round job against an overmatched opponent. Justis Huni, for me, again, we're not going to learn anything from this. Has he improved from those fights with Kevin Lerena and Andrew Tabiti? Has he improved since then? Can he improve since then? The good thing for Justis Huni is that he's only 25 years old, and he does have a lot of attributes to his game, particularly in terms of athletic ability. He's quick on his feet, he's got quick hands, puts his shots together quite well when he wants to. Decent reactions. He's got a lot going for him, plus for decent amateur pedigree. He's got some talent there, but I'm not convinced as of yet. I think in 2025 we need to see Huni start being stepped up. I would maybe start the year with a quasi-domestic fight with Hemi Ahio. I know he's from New Zealand, but I'm assuming that would be a pretty big fight down there. You know, get Huni used to the big fight atmosphere. Maybe take that fight at the start of the year. Then after that, because he will beat a guy like Hemi Ahio, in my opinion. And after that, you know, look then to step up the levels. Maybe middle of next year, a guy like Jarrell Miller. You know, if Otto Wallin beats Derek Chisora, I think that'll be a good fight for Justis Huni. You know, these sort of guys, you know? These guys on these sort of levels, even a level below, a guy like Guido Vianello, for example, the Italian heavyweight who recently beat Arslanbek Makhmudov. I don't think that'll be a terrible opponent, you know? We just need some step-ups now for Justis Huni, in my opinion, so that he can develop and learn from his mistakes, etc. There is talent there, but at the same time, he's not somebody necessarily that I would count on to become a top heavyweight. He's one of those sort of guys, worth keeping an eye on, but not exactly a guy who I would invest a lot of stock into at the same time. You know, he's one of those guys. But anyway, got the job done, stay busy, fight. Hopefully 2025 marks an increase in competition. Anyway, share your thoughts below. Beanie Guy Del Boy, peace.